angle from the previous race. So it looks like they're clearing the racing lineup.
Okay, good. So that means it's nothing to do with the wind, is it? Because the wind is really solid. So we there's nothing wrong with the conditions. We should be able to get racing off and away fairly soon. And it looks like the 15 square meter kite choice is the right one for most people, right?
Yeah, definitely. Looks like all of them are out on 15, so it must be the good choice for today.
So the AP flag has been removed. And I just want to mention there was that advert for Levitas just now. So explain how Formula Kite works, because you're limited with what equipment you're allowed to use. It's what's permitted under the current rule, but that will change for the next cycle for Los Angeles 2028, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're only allowed to ride with certain equipment that has been approved by World Sailing, the IKA and everything. And so, I mean, for this campaign, we've seen Chubanga and Levitas kind of like taking the lead, a bit like Fly Surfer did. And so, yeah, there's no other foils out there. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the next campaign and which brands are going to be at the top, and yeah, which foils are going to be faster. And is there going to be one that's a bit faster, one that's a bit more stable? It's going to be really interesting what Chubanga and Levitas are going to be able to.
Well, for those that have been using, just to update, it's about 2 minutes 30 to the start now for this men's race. But those that have been using the new gear that's not yet race legal for Formula Kite competition are saying that the new Levitas foil is still fast, but it's much more stable. So Levitas have been addressing that issue, which is why people have been moving over to Chubanga, which is it's easier to push at high speeds and really push at 100% without fear of losing control and potentially crashing. And Levitas feel that their LA 2028 foil is addressing some of those issues. So you're going to have the speed and the stability.
Oh, that's going to be brilliant. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see, and to see what they change also to make it more stable. But it is definitely, I mean, top riders have been riding Levitas for this campaign as well. So yeah, it's going to be a good a good thing to talk about for the next cycle.
Well, you think that the recent world champions of the last few years, Tony Vodicek and Max Mader, are both amongst the men that are using Levitas. So clearly the Levitas foil is world class, but the Chubanga has been the more popular choice. So yeah, we'll see how that balance of power works out for the next cycle once the new equipment is brought in. But coming back to this race, we've got 1 minute to go. It looked like it was going to be everyone starting on starboard the previous time they attempted this race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they make a similar choice. It looks like most of the riders are on starboard. I don't see any port riders for now, but we will see. It's 37 seconds to the start. It looks like it's a lot of people on the starboard. It's going to be interesting to see maybe who tacks and goes to the right side, or if the left side is paying up a bit more. Tony.
Looks like Axel Mazzella on the right of screen with 14 seconds to go. So he's going for more for the pin end of the start. 3 seconds to go.
Okay, so they were not able to run this start as well. I think it might be for the same reason, but we will. Yeah, it looks like there was still someone on the starting line, wasn't it?
Okay, another race start delay. Hopefully it won't take too long. We'll go to a quick break. We'll be back to you in a moment. Okay, so we have just 3 minutes to the start of the restart of this race. So hopefully this time we'll get it cleanly away. In the meantime, I'd like you to watch this video on Gisela Pulido, Spain's Olympic representative. She's been on an interesting journey and she's got some surprising things to say. Okay, we can't bring you that video at the moment, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm hoping we can play that at some point. But...
I had two big challenges. One is accepting I'm not the best at something when I won so many world titles in this sport, but in freestyle. And here, for me, like the best result I had is a third in the Europeans and top 10 in world championships, or top 10 in like Sof or Sofia, which is really good, but it's not what I'm used to. And for me, that was a big challenge. I was expecting for myself to be a bit higher in the ranking, but at the end, you have to accept it's another discipline. It's something I've never done. The weight also matters a lot, and I've been training so hard and improving a little bit, so I'm happy about that. And I changed my mind a bit instead of like pushing so much to myself about.
Really good start, and she decided to attack early. Goes to the right side. Now we see all the, yeah, this looks like it might be Maya going to the right side of the course. Let's see. Elena's looking, yeah, on the starboard tack, looking really fast at the moment. But it looks like Maya is keeping the lead.
So Maya going out to the right-hand side, Maya Ashkenazi from Israel doing well on the right-hand side, but the vast majority are still going out towards the left. That's who we're looking at now. Elena Lengvila doing well in the early stages. Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain also doing well. And on the far side, we're looking at Poema Newland here. That's Poema Newland, centre of your screen.
With the red light.
Exactly, with the red lycra.
Oh, no, sorry, with the green
Oh, sorry. You're correct.
There's Jessie battling it out with her fellow French rider.
So the French doing well out towards the left-hand side so far. Poema and Campman, and also you see Lauriane Nelot in the central picture there. So that's the three French right there in that shot, all going out towards the left-hand side. And so far, so good for the French. Lauriane Nelot goes into attack, and Poema Newland also goes into attack on the left of your screen. Jessie Campman in red still to tack. She's being held on, but now she can tack, now that the other rider has tacked. That other rider being Julia Damasovic from Poland.
Here we see Poema and Lauriane. Looks like Poema is in a really good place right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens at the top mark.
Yeah, let's see. And let's see how Maya Ashkenazi from Israel, who was the early tacker out to the right, how she's going to do coming back in. But at the moment, it looks like Lengvila in the middle of the racetrack is doing very well. And Poema Newland also doing well alongside Lauriane Nelot on the left-hand side of the racetrack.
Yeah, Poema is in a very good position as well. But Elena is, yeah, she's sailing clean wind, and I think she's going to be tacking soon. And we have, yeah, we're seeing them approach the mark. There they are.
So Lengvila certainly up there. We know how fast the Swiss rider is in flat water. 15 square meter kites, breeze blowing about what, 13 or 14 knots, do you think?
Yeah. Okay, so we have, that is Poema that tacked. And yeah, looks like Poema's in the lead. Very good performance. And just followed by Elena and Jessie.
So France doing well at this stage. Poema Newland leading, Elena Lengvilla from Switzerland in second, Campman from France in third, Whitehead from Australia in fourth, and Lorraine Alot in fifth, just being followed by Ellie Aldridge, who was one of the early ones to jibe out. So Aldridge trying something different on the far side of the racecourse.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a few riders jibe, go away to the other side of the course. Looks like Poema and Elena chose to jibe later on, and it looks like the left side of the course paid this time.
Yeah. And the French really wanted that side of the racecourse as well. It didn't work out that well for Ashkenazi, who was the early tacker out to the right-hand side. So it does seem like left is slightly favoured on this racetrack. Newland still leading towards the bottom of the racecourse.
Yeah, she's looking pretty solid. Coming on down to the first. Downwind, mark rounding. It looks like Ellie jibed. Yeah, this is Ellie with a blue lycra. And it looks like she's going to be approaching the mark soon. Let's see what the other riders managed to do.
Ellie Aldridge maybe a little bit high on ley line. She might be able to get down to the mark in one, but no, there she goes. So Aldridge having to do a couple of extra jibes to get round the bottom of the course. And it's still Newland in the lead, followed by Lengvilla from Switzerland and Campman from France in third.
Poema looks like she has quite a nice gap with between herself and Elena and Jessie. So let's see if she's able to keep the lead and hopefully get a good result in. It looks like yesterday she maybe struggled a little bit in some of the races, so it's really good to see her at the top.
Yeah, she was just determined to come back and said she wanted to give us a reason to interview her when she came ashore.
Yeah.
Back to the beach later on today. So let's hope we do get to speak to Poema a little bit later on. And if she carries on sailing like this, I'm sure we will be talking to her.
Yeah, she's doing a very good job, and Jessie as well.
Jessie Campman, she's got better than ever. She had a terrible accident last year and almost had to learn how to walk again, let alone learn how to kite. And yet having come back this season, despite taking 4 months away from kiteboarding, has come back stronger than ever.
Yeah, it's quite impressive actually. I think we're all very surprised, and she did a very good comeback. So it's always good to see that.
And meanwhile, Maggie Pichetto from Italy, she got selected to go to the games. Maggie is one of the smaller riders, but she seems to like the stronger breeze. She'd probably like stronger breeze than what we have today, it seems.
Yeah, I saw her going to the right side with Maya. Unfortunately, the right side of the course didn't pay off for her today, but she's been really solid, and she's been having a great championship. So it's good to see her doing well, and I think she's improved so fast in the past months since this winter training, and I think she deserves to be at the top, and I'm hoping she'll show people what she can do in the finals. It would be good to get some Italian flag on the top.
And there she is in 14th, sort of 2/3 to the right. You might be able to see Pichetto there in amongst the group, but up at the front, it looks like a battle is developing with Lengvilla starting to threaten Newland for the lead. It looks like Newland might just still be ahead, but it's going to be very close between Poema Newland and Elena Lengvilla coming towards the top mark second time round, and Jessie Campman also very much in the mix.
Yeah, I think Elena is really fast in these conditions, and yeah, I think today it's all about speed, and she's doing a very good job. But Poema is so fast, so she's keeping the lead, and we'll see.
Very
It's like-
close, isn't it? Top two.
Yeah.
That's Lengvila pushing Newland hard around the top mark, and then there's a slight gap back to third place, Jesse Campman, and Lauriane Nolot rounding fourth. And Nolot going to be the first to jibe. Oh no, it's Campman. Campman's the first to jibe. There's Nolot continuing on starboard jibe.
And I think Poema has an exceptional downwind, and she's going really, really fast. Looks like she is the fastest for the moment, and so it's gonna be hard for Ellen, I think, to catch up with the French rider, but we will see. Nothing is said until the end.
Lengvila does have phenomenal pace, that's for sure.
Yeah, Poema with 31 knots of speed, Elena 30 knots of speed.
And beautiful conditions out here for the 5th day of the Formula Kite World Championships in Hyeres in the south of France. For anyone that was at the last chance regatta in the same venue just 2 or 3 weeks ago, they could barely believe they're in the same place. It felt like winter then, with I mean, it must have been snow on the mountains. The Mistral breeze was so cold, and finally summer has arrived in the south of France.
Yeah, it's looking beautiful, and it looks like a different place, and it feels so good and so much warmer. So yeah, and a very good breeze for this last day of Gold Fleet. Looks like Poema is now jibing and about to approach the mark.
Really nice smooth jibe by Poema Newland at the bottom of screen, and actually has really stretched some distance. So like you said, Sophia, Poema Newland is possibly one of the quickest, if not the quickest downwind, because she certainly displayed that here. And it's this final reach across to the finish. You still can't let up for a moment. You can't let your concentration slip for a moment, but it looks increasingly like the French rider Poema Newland is going to take the race win in Gold Fleet 6 of the women's competition. So congratulations to Newland. France wins that race after a disastrous race for France earlier in the afternoon. It's going to be France, Switzerland, France, Australia, Britain, Poland, Netherlands, USA in the top few.
Yeah, amazing performance by Poema, I think. After this tough week, I think it must feel really good for her, and yeah, again we saw the French riders right back on top, like you'd predicted, and yeah, and Elena with a stunning performance as well.
I'm trying to think where Lengvila was in the Europeans. Was she 4th? I think maybe she was.
Yeah, I think somewhat.
Okay, just off the podium. But it was, yeah, I'm thinking maybe it was Lengvila who was 4th there. So the top 4 finishers there are actually the same as what we saw. Oh, we've got 1 minute to the next start, a quick break, and we'll be back to you in a moment for the next start.
Meet the R1 V4, our highest performance Olympic and IKA registered racing machine.
Ten seconds to the start of the next men's race. No, it doesn't look like it's going to be a start now. So I think that timer is wrong. We've obviously got a little bit more time, judging by there isn't the pattern of a lineup quite yet. So we'll try and update you on that in a moment.
It looks like everyone decided to keep sailing in a 15. So.
Yes, we haven't seen many come back to the shore, have we, to change. Now, Mozella, an important one, in fact, important race wins for French riders in the men and the women. Poeme Newland knocking on the door of being able to win championships. Mazzella, winner of the test regatta, the Olympic test regatta in Marseille last year. That was a massive confidence booster for him. Winning that race against Maida earlier on in the afternoon, about half an hour ago, that obviously meant a lot. You could see by the way he was pumping the air with his fist.
Yeah,
you know, it really meant a lot. And every time I see a picture of Mazzella, he looks so determined. He looks angry. he really wants it, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to be at the top and to be such a good rider, you must want it with all of yourself, and because everybody works really hard. So yeah, he definitely wants it. And yeah, like I said before, I think when the Olympics are on home soils, it's obviously a different feeling, I assume, and yeah, so it must be really important for him. Looks like most of the fleet, if not all the fleet, is starting on starboard. We're 19 seconds to the start. Looks like
Maybe Wojciechowska. I don't know. No, I'm not sure if it looks like it's going to be everyone starting on starboard. 3 seconds to go. Just getting into the power zone now. Off they go. Let's see if it's a clear start in a moment. Pumping the board to get up to full speed, and they're off.
yeah.
Good start for Cameron Maramonides, bottom left of picture.
Incredible start. Looks like he has a lot of speed. This is going to the far left of the course. We'll see what pays off. There's two people that decided to attack. Go to the right side.
So that was Wojciechowska, who was the only port tack starter, and then Britain Sam Dickinson did an early tack. Start not clear, we see, so somebody is going to be over. And in terms of who's poked out at the moment, well, Greece's Cameron Maramonides doing very well out towards the left-hand side, but I wonder if that puts him at risk as being one of the people that have broken the line. It sounds like someone is not going to get a race finish when they cross the finish line.
And we've just seen Cameron qualifying Greece in the last event we had here in Hyeres, and that was, I think, yeah, really good to see, because he was very good in the youth class, and it's very nice to see him doing very well here as well. And yeah, I wish him good luck for the Olympics, and we'll see what happens. So it looks like they tacked now.
Wow.
Yeah, bit of a tight spot there to go through.
Yeah, I mean, they really took some risks to do those port tack starts. Oh, someone's off the board. I don't know what happened there, but someone just came off the board there.
Yeah.
That could be Flo Gruber, maybe. And somebody else. It could be that Poland's Jan Marcinak and Germany's Flo Gruber had a bit of a tangle up there.
Looks like Dennis is on the lead now.
Dennis Taradin from Cyprus going very fast, doing about 24 knots upwind. Israel's Dorzaka also going extremely well. So I was just wondering where Max Mader was, but he's in the mix. He's still there. So Singapore's Max Mader also doing very well.
So it looks like the first people started to attack, and we're gonna now see what paid off. Whether it was the left side.
Some on the left seem like they've overstood the ley line for the protector mark. They've been carried a little bit too far by the rest of the fleet, so they're giving away distance by reaching back in towards the protector mark, because you can see them all going around this mark now, but it's not the windward mark. The windward mark is the one that they're just about to go around, and it's Max Mader who gets around just ahead of Cyprus's Dennis Taradin, with Cameron Maramonides from Greece in third and France's Axel Mazzella in fourth. So somehow Max Mader finds his way through into the lead again and is looking very steady in his yellow bib.
There's nothing stopping Max.
No,
He's looking very solid.
And that yellow jersey is a critical advantage if you can carry that in to the final day, because for the medal series, whoever carries the yellow jersey into the final day is given 2 race wins. That's the reward for winning Gold Fleet.
So
But
it is a huge advantage here.
Dennis Taradin pushing hard. Taradin actually going a little bit quicker than Maida right now. Axel Mazzella also doing well, and remember it was Mazzella who won the previous race, so Mazzella's really coming into his perfect zone with this 15 square meter kite kind of conditions. About 13 knots of wind, doing 32, 33, 34 knots of boat speed in just 13 knots of wind.
And we have Cameron Marinidis just behind, and Italian Riccardo Pianozzi as well. And Tony just behind Riccardo. So
Tony Vodicek from Slovenia, he was top 3 in the previous race. I think he was 3rd or 4th in the last race. He's up there again, and so Vodicek beginning to rediscover some of the world-beating form that he's shown over the last couple of years.
yeah, they just jibe now and are about to turn the downwind mark.
It's still Maida in the lead, ahead of Dennis Taradin from Cyprus and Mazzella from France in 3rd, followed by Marimonides of Greece in 4th place. And bottom left, you can see SGP on the kite. That's the logo for Singapore. That's Maida, and that's the national logos that we'll be seeing at the Olympic Games to help identify who's who.
Yeah, it's so hard with the kites all being the same. So
The Fly Surfer has been the standout, most popular design, and we used to, a couple of years ago, have a range of different kites on show, particularly Ozone were very strong. But increasingly, Fly Surfer has become the go-to kite that everyone's using, and they just use one cloth or one color of cloth for all Fly Surfers, as you can see, which makes it very difficult to identify who's who. So very pleased to see that SGP appears on the kite of Max Maida, and it will be those 3-letter insignia will be on the kites for all of the Olympic kites for Marseille for the Olympic regatta this July. Meanwhile, Max Maida still leading ahead of Dennis Taradin, but it's Yannis Maus who moves up to 3rd, the German rider, yet to earn his spot for the Olympics. Well, he's moving up into contention in this race right now, moving ahead of Mazzella.
yeah, it looks like Giannis on the right side of the course.
There is Yannis Maus. He's doing something different on the right-hand side with Bruno Lobo from Brazil. So is this just a temporary moment of glory for Yannis Maus, or when they come back together again, will it convert into reality?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who crosses in front. And Bruno has had a very, very solid weekend racing, I think. I think
Yes.
yesterday he possibly struggled a bit more than the days before, but he's doing really well, and he's very, very fast. So
He really likes the strong breeze, doesn't he?
yeah, he
This is not quite as windy as he would like, because Lobo is top 3 material when the wind is really blowing hard like it was earlier in the week. But the lighter the conditions, the less the Brazilian can hold his own against some of the others. And Yannis Maus, he's made small gains, but actually our brief excitement about the right-hand side of the race course hasn't stood the test of time. It doesn't look like Yannis Maus is going to be threatening quite as much as we thought he would do.
yeah, looks like Mats and Dennis and Cameron, Axel, yeah, they definitely crossed in front and are maintaining their lead to the rest of the fleet.
Maida still in the lead ahead of Mazzella, and it's a close battle between Taradin and Mazzella right now, with Marimonides in 4th and Pianozzi in 5th. And what can we say about Riccardo Pianozzi? He's qualified to go to the Games. He won the European Championships last year in Portsmouth.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is probably one of the most talented riders I've ever met. He is, yeah, very, 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 very good, and he's showed some solid performances throughout the years, and it's quite impressive because he's really young, but he's able to manage the pressure and make the most out of his riding. And yeah, it's nice to see him battle it out with Max in the youth championships as well. And who knows, maybe someday it will be Ricardo on top. Would be nice.
I think it's really got to Ricardo over the years that he hasn't quite managed to get the better of Max Mader. I feel like he felt like he had the ability to beat Max, and occasionally he does, but overall Max Mader at youth level and senior level has been the one to beat, and that's been a bit hard for Ricardo at times, I would imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine. Max is very, 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 very good, and his performance is always top. And so, but Ricardo's doing very well himself. So this is now Max jibing, and
Final reach to the finish, so not long to go now. It looks like Axel Mazzella was soaking into that bottom mark, not quite the best judgment into the bottom mark, but Mazzella looking solid for a second place behind Max Mader, who relaxes now as he crosses the finish line and adds another race win to the many race wins that he's had so far this week. And well, if anyone wants to take that yellow bib off him, they're running out of time to do so. It's Mader winning that race ahead of Mazzella from France, ahead of Denis Taradin in third for Cyprus. Fourth is Greece's Mario Menides. Fifth, Riccardo Pianozzi from Italy. Sixth, Vodicek from Slovenia. Seventh, Bontus from Austria. Maus from Germany finishes eighth, ahead of Bruno Lobo of Brazil and Dorzaka of Israel. So there we have it. There is our very provisional top 10 and a race win for Max Mader. We will go to a quick break and come back to you for the next women's race. 3 minutes to the next start. I wonder if we've got time to go to an interview we did with Daniela Moroz earlier this week. Let's see if we can play Daniela Moroz. Fascinating family story.
My parents are both originally from former Czechoslovakia. They escaped from the Eastern Bloc in the early 80s, and my dad actually escaped by cross-country skiing across the border to Yugoslavia. And my mom went on like a student trip to Yugoslavia because you weren't allowed to leave at that point, so you had to get really special permission to leave. So she was able to get that special permission by going on a student trip, and then she just didn't come back. And they didn't know each other at this time, but they separately spent like 8-9 months in refugee camps, and then eventually they got asylum to come to the US. And so they left everything behind to start completely new lives in foreign country that they didn't know the language of, so they had to learn the language, get jobs, and completely restart their lives. And my mom eventually became a legal secretary. That was one of her first jobs after getting her law degree. Then eventually became an attorney, and now she's a judge. My dad studied engineering back in Czechoslovakia, and then eventually got a job working as a mechanical technician at the Lawrence Berkeley lab. So he was working at the particle accelerator in the Berkeley Hills for like 25 plus years now. But they met learning to windsurf in the Berkeley Marina in the Bay Area, and it's funny hearing how they met, because I think they had just come in from windsurfing or something, and they didn't know each other. And my mom heard some people speaking Czech down the beach, and so she walked over, and it was my dad and Mike Zajíček from Mike's Lab, who later became one of the big board and foil designers in the sport. So it all kind of came together in the Bay Area. Yeah, it really is. I think they left everything behind to chase the American dream, and it feels like now me going to the Olympics and representing the U.S. is kind of the culmination of that American dream. So.
Absolutely unbelievable story about Daniela Moroz's parents and how they met. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. And Moroz, one of our race winners earlier on today, she won the first of our 4 races. This is going to be the third of our 4 races of the women that we watched today. We've got 30 seconds to go. Looks like everybody is lining up for the starboard tack, and increasingly, Sophia, it looks like the left-hand side of the racetrack is not much in it, but left-hand side is marginally the better place to be, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, but on the first race, it was the right side, so it's quite interesting. I think, yeah, I wonder if the change is gonna keep happening throughout the day, and if the left-hand side is gonna be better and better. So it looks like they're about to start now. Yeah.
Off they go. So hopefully a clear start, but we'll find out if we get confirmation of that in a moment. Jessie Campman doing well out towards the left. Campman again booking her spot to near the pin end of the line to want to get out to the left-hand side. But as we saw with the men's race just now, if you get out this side, you don't always get to dictate when you're able to tack back. We saw people tacking and then having to weave their way through, and we saw there was a collision between Wojciechowska and Flo Gruber from Germany. They had a tangle up. So at the moment, Campman, bottom left of picture, looking pretty good, looking good in these early stages, but others looking really good further up to windward.
Yeah, and Poema is just windward Jessie, and she looks like she's in a very good position as well. So I think, yeah, they both decided to start towards the pin, because maybe they noticed the left-hand side was a little bit better for the boys, or at least it paid off for them.
Lauriane Nalot, middle of your picture there with the yellow jersey, going out to the left-hand side. So the French really liking this left-hand side, and they seem to be prepared to hit the left-hand side quite hard. Looks like that's Lauriane Nalot going for attack, and she's going to have to weave her way through quite a few of the starboard tackers. So Lauriane Nalot, not the fastest of starts in this race. How's she going to get on there?
Very risky move. She might have to tack again. No, okay.
She's had to slow down though, hasn't she? I mean, you could really see her taking her foot off the gas for a moment, but she's safely through. But Lauriane Nalot, not looking as dominant as we normally expect her to be.
Yeah, I wonder if she's struggling with the equipment, or, you know, sometimes it's just like a matter of starting really well, and all the gals are extremely good, so it's hard to find a good spot in the line and get off the start line in a good place at a good speed, and so it might just be a bit of a struggle to start with such a good fleet.
It was a very competitive start, and Lauriane Nalot not doing badly. She's in about 7th or 8th place, so it's not a disaster by any means, but we're just surprised to see, well, we just expect to see Nalot winning race after race normally, and it's not happening in that way for her today.
Maya's coming from the right side again. I think she chose the right side of the course earlier as well, and
Maya Ashkenazi from Israel seems to like the right-hand side of the course. And Lily Young also on the right-hand side, but it does seem like the front runners are going to come from the left-hand lay line again. And Gal Zuckerman from Israel doing very well and is slightly ahead of Nalot. And it will be interesting to see how Zuckerman comes out compared with some of the other French riders like Newland and Campman.
there they go, Poema on the lead again. followed by Ellie, Aldridge, Jessie Catman. It's all very tight at the mark rounding. All the girls are very, very close, but it looks like Poema has quite a big gap, and again, with her skills in the downwind, I think it's going to be hard to catch up with her. And it looks like Gal is doing really well again. She's currently third, battling it with Ellie and Jessie.
So Poema Newland looking fast downwind. She's leading. Aldridge from Great Britain in second, Zuckerman from Israel in third, Catman from France in fourth, Moroz from USA in fifth, Lengvila in sixth, and Nolo, our reigning world champion, back in seventh. But I'm sure Nolo will be able to take a few places back, so we'll keep an eye out for Laurie Nolo's progress in the rest of this race. But unless Poema Newland puts her foot wrong, it's hard to see anyone being able to overtake her at the moment because she's fast and she's ahead.
Yeah, she's looking extremely fast and just solid. And there we can see the battle between Ellie and Jessie. It's so tight, they're so close, and their speed is basically the same. So it's gonna be very tight at the downwind mark. And
yes, they're neither of them are among the biggest. Ellie and Jessie aren't that big, but they probably both want to. Well, I know that Ellie wants to be heavier. She's been trying to put on weight and just hasn't been able to do so. She's just not got that body type that makes it easy to put on weight, and so she's very slender, but still managing to go very quickly despite not being as heavy as she'd like to be.
yeah, it is very, very hard for some people to put on weight, but I think now the fleet, I think they're quite close to each other. I think everybody's gaining a bit of weight and they're getting closer, and there's less and less gap. Poema is looking like she has increased the gap and she's just going for the upwind. And Ellie just should be just behind the, yeah, followed by Gao, Zuckerman and Jessie. I wonder what happened to Lorianne, because we saw her attack early at the beginning, and then yeah, that she might have struggled with that attack in the middle of the fleet.
And there's a kite in the water there as well. I'm not sure who that is, but someone is struggling there. It could be Elena Lengvila, so it could be one of our usual front runners, the Swiss rider, in the water and struggling. So things not working out for the Swiss rider in this race right now. And it could be also, it could be Jessie Catman. We're wondering if Jessie Catman's had a problem and also ended up in the water. I wonder if those two things are related.
Yeah, it could be that something happened.
Meanwhile, Newland still showing a clean pair of heels to the rest of the fleet, being chased by Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain and Gal Zuckerman from Israel.
Interesting decision from Daniela Moroz to attack early and go to the right side. Maybe she's trying to gain a few places that, you know, when you get stuck into the pack, going to one side is sometimes just better to, yeah, go to the other side and sail with clean air and kind of like try and catch up with the rest of the fleet.
Based on what we're seeing, I know it's much harder for them in the thick of the action to see it, but you have to have a pretty good reason to want to go right. So even if you're in bad air, I would still tend to think that you want to persist with going left, unless the bad air or something is so bad that you feel that you're given no other choice. But I'm a little bit surprised to see Daniela Moroz making that decision to go right.
Yeah, I guess if you're really stuck behind people, then you might as well try and go to the other side. You never know what the wind is very unpredictable. But yeah, I agree with you. The left side's looking pretty solid. I would like to be on the left side today, and it looks like it's paid off for Poema, that's had a good start at the pin, so towards the end of the line. And
makes it a fairly easy race course to defend for the leader, because everyone is automatically going out to that left-hand side until they choose to tack. So Newland has been able to defend her lead fairly easily, and that's Newland going around the top of the mark now, top left of your picture, and she's stretched the gap even more, with Ellie Aldridge going round in a clear second place, but Lauriane Nolot now up to third, so a good comeback for Nolo.
Yeah, what a comeback. She's now in third place, and she's looking very fast, so we'll see if she manages to catch Ellie right at the end.
And that Moroz going around in fifth place, so actually not that bad going to the right. I was questioning Daniela Moroz's decision to go to the right, but maybe she just got the shift really well and actually managed to make the right-hand side work. Here comes Poem and Newland just jiving. Look at the gap back to the rest of the fleet. That's Ellie Aldridge in second. But barring some kind of mistake from Poem and Newland, this is going to be her second race win of the day.
It's quite impressive, isn't it? We haven't seen such a big gap today, not even from Max, that's been leading the whole championship up until now. So it's quite impressive, actually. Impressive performance from Newland.
How do you think she'll be feeling? Because I mean, you must be able to relate to, as somebody who was in a trial, in your case for the Italian selection. Now you're not racing this week, but how do you think Poema Newland feels? She's winning races, but she knows that she's not going to the games. I mean, there's some sense of justifying yourself and proving that you're still world class, but it must be a bit bittersweet winning these races.
Yeah. I think she loves the sport, doesn't she? And she's put in so much work, and I think she owes it to herself to just prove just how much of an incredible rider she is. And I mean, we all know she's been at the top of the sport for years. She was at the top in the youth class and everything. She's been an amazing rider, and unfortunately France has so many good riders, so only one of them gets to go. But I'm sure it must feel really good for Poema to be at the top and have such a stunning performance today. I mean, it always feels good to win, doesn't it?
Oh, well, you tell me, Sophia. I take your word for it. I'm sure we'll be getting a word about winning from Poema Newland, who has now just won her second race, and that body language shows you that means a lot to her. Ellie Aldridge coming across in second for Great Britain, Nolo coming across in third, and then Brianna Whitehead from Australia in fourth. Daniela Moroz from USA is going to be coming across in fifth, followed by Germany's Leonie Meyer, New Zealand's Justina Kitchen. Good result for New Zealand. Britain's Katie Dabson. Bit of a drop back for Gal Zuckerman, back to ninth, the Israeli rider, and then Annelies Lammerts. Quite solid with finishing around 10th spot for the Netherlands rider. So there we have it. We will go to a quick break and we will be back to you soon for the next men's race.
DR5, built to win.
2 minutes 30 to the start of the next men's race. This is Gold Fleet Race 7. This is the third of the races that we'll be watching today, and there are the standings after Max Mader's win in the previous race. So as you can see, quite a nice gap back to Axel Marzella in second, Pianozzi from Italy in third, Bontes from Austria in fourth, Yannis Maus from Germany in fifth place, Bruno Lobo from Brazil in sixth, Boschetti from Italy in seventh, Dolence from Croatia in eighth, Taradin from Cyprus in ninth, and Tony Vodicek in 10th. So Tony Vodicek doing just enough to stay in the medal series zone. It's going to be all about the top 10 tomorrow. So it's absolutely critical to Vodicek that he continues to get good scores today. I can see his sister cheering for him outside, and I see we've got his board down as a levite. It's like a not a levitas, but a levite. 1 minute 20 to the start. And similar conditions, it's pretty solid 15s. Sophia, have you spotted any kite changes back and forth from the beach?
So I've seen a few people change kite. I'm wondering if that was because of a tangle, but it looks like maybe Elena, the Swiss rider, decided to change to a bigger kite. So it's going to be interesting to see next race what pays off. I wonder if the boys are gonna maybe change kites for the next race. We
also saw Elena have a bit of a splashdown in that race. I'm wondering if that's what's driving her decision as well.
Yeah, it could be. You're right. Yeah, it might have been maybe wanting to change from the wet kite from that crash.
Would you ever do that if your ideal kite is a 15, but you just got it wet and you think it's a bit of a marginal day? Would that convince you or influence you to switch to a different kite size?
Yeah, I mean, it could pay off. I'm seeing a few of the girls coming back, so it might be a good decision. We're just almost 10 seconds to the next start, and
so a few port tack starters thinking about it. Maybe 3 or 4. Boschetti from Italy, Wojtek Koska, the Czech rider seems to like that left-hand side.
And off they go. So yeah, just a few port start. Yeah, just 4 of the guys and the rest on starboard.
And we'll just get this off the screen in a moment, hopefully, and then get back to... We've got Cameron Maramonides from Greece, who's done well out of the left-hand side of the line. Max Mader already looking good on the right-hand side of the starboard tackers, and then we've got the port tack have a go heroes on the right-hand side of the course, being led out there by Lorenzo Boschetti from Italy. Tell us about Boschetti. He's a character, isn't he?
He definitely is. He definitely is. He is a very good rider, and I mean, it was a tight battle with Riccardo, because Lorenzo has worked really, really hard as well, and he's a very good kiter. So I mean, I think it must be a little hard to not be going to the Olympics, but I mean, he has had good results for himself, and I hope he gets what he wants from this race.
Meanwhile, here's the battle for the front of the fleet. I see Mazzella in the middle of our picture. He's definitely in the middle. Oh, as I say that, commentators curse. Mazzella's just had a splash down.
Oh my God, that's gonna change. It's
so absolute disaster for Mazzella right now.
Oh wow, I wonder what that was. Could have been some ventilation, or maybe hitting something in the water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Whether hard to know whether it was unforced error or whether he was just unfortunate to hit something.
So it looks like we have Tony back at the top.
So Tony Vodicek really seems to be coming back on strong today. This is much more what we expect to see of the Slovenian rider back in the battle with Max Mader, which is where he would expect to be. But also Italy's Riccardo Pianozzi in amongst the top bunch, and Austria's Valentin Bontas, who I feel like we haven't spoken enough about today. I feel like Bontas should be up there more, and he's up there in this one. He's in the top 4 of this race.
Yeah, he's a very good rider, and he's been doing really, really well, hasn't he? And so yeah, we'll see if in this race he'll manage to get a good result for himself.
Bontas really gone from well, he's always been very popular in the fleet, but he was mostly known as the fun guy that's sort of in there, you know, in the middle of the fleet. But last year really made a breakthrough, and now can really seriously start to believe that he might actually get on the podium of the Olympics. Yeah,
he's been putting a lot of work in. He's been working really well and hard. So I hope that.
And he's up there in the top few. But look, who is it in the lead? Who do you think it is, Sophia?
So Max is on the lead, and it's just followed by Tony and Riccardo right behind. So we'll see if anybody's able to stop Max. I wonder. But so tight. We can see Tony right behind Max, and just followed by Riccardo and Pau.
This is important psychological points for Tony Vodicek if he can get one over Max Mader in this race. If he could overtake him here, that would mean an awful lot, because I think, well, here goes Tony. Tony going for the jibe and immediately matched by Max Mader. I don't know how other riders know when people behind them are jibing.
I mean, I guess with the corner of your eye, you can kind of see it, and you always keep an eye on what's going on behind you, and you can kind of like feel it as well. I think it's a lot of training, a lot of hours in the water, and experience. So yeah, we get to see Max and Tony being very close on the downwind. Let's see when it comes to the jibe what happens.
There's SGP versus SLO, but there's nothing SLO about Tony Vodicek in this race right now. He's back up to pace, and he's in the battle with Max Mader, Riccardo Pianozzi, and Valentin Bontas. Tony Vodicek still pushing hard on the right-hand side of your picture, but it's still Max Mader with a marginal lead right now. That more forward-leaning stance of Vodicek on the right of your screen, that more backward-leaning stance of Max Mader. Another simultaneous jibe between Singapore and Slovenia. And has Max Mader judged his rounding correctly? Yes, it's pretty good. A brief touchdown by Slovenia by Tony Vodicek, but those two with a bit of a gap back to the rest now.
It's so tight, isn't it? And it's so interesting to see. They're riding on the same foil. We were talking about foils before. They're both riding Levitas, and right behind Riccardo and Valentin, they are riding Chibanga foils.
So Slovenia versus Singapore. These are the two world champions of the past 2 years. The 2022 champion, Tony Vodicek, pushing hard to try and beat the 2023 champion Max Mader, who briefly looks back behind him just to see where the opposition is. But it really, the only board that he's got to worry about now is his friend and rival, Tony Vodicek, who, after a poor start to the week, finally seems to be coming back into his own and is doing just enough to live another day to get into the top 10 of the medal series.
Let's see what's happening right behind. Cameron's very close to them as well. Yannis been pretty solid today as well. All the races we've seen him at the top 5, top 10. So quite a good performance from the German rider as well.
Yes, simultaneous jibe by Singapore and Slovenia. It's like they're in a synchronized swimming contest, but it looks like Max Mader has just pulled out another metre or two on Tony Vodicek in that tack. It's Mader very much in control at the moment. Tony Vodicek doing everything he can, pushing hard. It's got a much more leaning over stance than Max Mader. It looks, just by body shape, it looks like Tony is putting in more effort than Max, but I'm sure that's not actually the case.
Yeah, Max looks very very calm and controlled, but I'm sure he's pushing really, really hard, because I mean, at the top of the fleet, they must be pushing so much. They spend so many hours in the gym training their legs, so I'm sure he's not just chilling, but it surely looks like he is. It looks very solid. So
not that I do leg presses in the gym, but have you got a number that you can throw out to the audience, impress people with your leg press ability in the gym?
No, I don't have a number. Unfortunately, I have a lot of back problems, so there's some exercise I can't do, which is a bit of a shame. But so no, I'm sorry, I can't give you an impressive number of leg press. But we can interview maybe Poema later, maybe ask her or let one of the girls.
Oh, she won't tell us that kind of information. So it's still Mader ahead of Vodicek with a bit of a gap back to Pianozzi from Italy, and then Valentin Bontas from Austria. It's just gradually stretching away.
Yeah, he's jibing just now. Let's see if Tony manages to to get him, but he's looking like he has quite a big gap, and both Ricardo and Valentin are coming with a lot of speed. Ricardo looks really fast, just right behind.
Maida with his ski goggles. We talked about seeing anything out of the corner of his eye because he uses conventional ski goggles, which really must box in his peripheral vision. It must take away some of that.
Yeah, but I'm sure he keeps an eye on what's going on behind you, because it's as important as what goes on in front of you. Especially when you're on the lead, you must be aware of everything that's happening and the wind and everything. So yeah, I'm sure the goggles might impede his view, but I'm sure he keeps an eye on everybody, and he looks very aware of what goes on. And yeah, we've seen a lot of simultaneous attacks and jives, and look, like,
There's another one, as you say it. They're absolutely in synchronization, these two, and they're two great friends as well. But I wonder if they both jibed a little bit early. A very upright stance for Max Maida. It's okay. I feel like Tony Vodicek jibed a little bit earlier than he wanted to. And Maida looking so in control there. I'm not sure that he's pushing at full tilt there. I feel like he could push a bit harder if he needed to, but why take the risk? With going faster comes a higher risk of crashing. No need for Max Maida to do that. He wins the race and further cements his hold on that yellow jersey, which is going to put him in a very strong advantage going into tomorrow's medal series, when it will be all down to the top 10. But at least for Tony Vodicek, finishing second in that race, he is increasingly doing enough to make sure that he stays inside the top 10. And we know that with the medal series in Kite 4 racing, in Formula Kite, anyone still has a chance of winning out of the top 10 on the final day.
he looks very satisfied with his.
Not quite pumping the air, sort of fist punch. You can't do that when you come second in a race, but but I mean, he's getting his confidence back, and that's what's important for Tony right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to go to a quick break. We'll be back to you shortly. Two minutes 40 to the start of the next women's race. This is the last Gold Fleet race, and this will be the decider to see who will be the top 10 women that go into the medal series, the last of 6 days of competition here in Hyeres in the south of France. This is the Formula Kite World Championships. This is the last big one before the really big one, the Olympic Games coming up in July. Paris 2024, the Olympic regatta will be taking place in Marseille, and many of these riders that you're seeing today are about to go to their first ever Olympic Games, because this is the debut of kiteboarding in the Summer Olympics, and it's going to be the fastest of all the sporting disciplines, possibly only beaten by the bikes when they're on the road and they're going downhill. But when you're talking about bikes in the velodrome, that's about the speed that these kites are doing. The kites are going slightly faster than the bikes in the velodrome, and they're going a lot faster than anybody in track and field, and going faster than the horses or anything else you can think about in the Summer Olympics. So seriously quick equipment, up to 75, 80 kilometers an hour. There's our leaderboard, and Lauriane Lelot, third in the last race. Not that much of a lead actually, on Elena Aldridge. Ellie Aldridge now closes within 3 points of Nolo, but is it going to be enough? We need to keep an eye on these scores. 29, 32, 34. Very close between Nolo, Aldridge and Cameron. And then a gap back to Poem and Newland, but what a great day she's having, winning two of the races so far. And Brianna Whitehead from Australia, very consistent, moving ahead of Elena Lengvila from Switzerland, who had that splashdown just now, and Daniela Moroz from USA. We've got 45 seconds to the start, and everybody looks like they're lining up. And Sophia, a bit of a kite change decision, do you think?
Yeah, we've seen a few kite changes from the girls. I also see the boys are coming back, and they're gonna, it looks like they changed to a bigger kite, so we'll see how that impacts the race. And yeah, I wonder if all of them change a kite, or if some people just decided to stay on 15. It's gonna be interesting to see, I think. We're only 15 seconds to start. It looks like Boema Newland was starting again towards a pin, and yeah.
So the French really like the pin end of the line because they know that's a good spot to get them out to the left-hand side, and off they go. Now, were there any over on that start? It looked like a very competitive start, but no, it's a clear start. Everybody is fine, and everybody is going out towards the left-hand side. The consensus increasingly is the left-hand side of the racecourse is the place to be. And if you're on bigger kites, I guess you're also a little bit less maneuverable, and you're not wanting to tack quite as often as you might do on the smaller kites. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. The tacks and drives are going to be a little bit slower, but on the downwind, it's going to be much easier to go fast and deep, and so it might really pay off, especially on the downwind. But yeah, I guess we will see how many people change kite and how that affects the race.
Lauriane Nolo looking fast out on this side of the course. She was third in the previous race, but remember, she's only got a 3-point advantage on Ellie Aldridge, so we need to keep an eye on that. I'm not sure how quickly we'll be able to calculate it by the end of this race, but going into the medal series, if you can be wearing the yellow bib going into the medal series, you carry 2 wins into the final, and it's whoever gets 3 wins. So you've already been gifted 2 wins. That's your reward for winning the medal series. Whoever's second takes 1 win through, and then as for the rest, they go into the final. Whoever manages to get into that 4-board final will have no wins. So Lauriane Nolo will be very keen to hold on to her yellow bib advantage because it will put her just 1 race away from defending her world title tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if she manages to keep that spot.
She's not at her best today, is she? Which I'm judging her by very high standards when I say that, because she was just third in the last race. But she's not running away with these races Max Mader style, which we know that Lauriane Nolo can do.
Yeah. I mean, the level is so high, so it's always a matter of being very, very, very precise with everything. And you know, Lauriane is human, and maybe today she's not having the best day, but it does look like she's on the lead now with a yellow bib, and so she might take home a race win today. Well, we're about to see, and it looks like she's close to Boema Newland again, racing really well today. Elena, that's been at the top and unfortunately crashed on the last race. So yeah, I think Elena definitely changed to the big kite, so we'll see if that pays off for her.
So here comes the convergence on the top mark for the first time. This is the last race of the session today, the final Gold Fleet race. All of the women at the end of this race will be out of the competition except for whoever makes it into the top 10. It's all about staying in the top 10 and living to fight another day for the medal series tomorrow. And coming into the top mark, it's very close between 2 French riders, Boema Newland and Lauriane Nolo. And Nolo in second, trying to play catch up on Newland, but we've seen how fast Newland is on these downwind legs, and this is a really tight match right now between the 2 French front runners.
I wonder what happened to Jessie.
I was just wondering that myself. No sign of her in the top 10 right now. And she had a bit of a splashdown in the previous race.
Yeah, yeah.
We haven't seen anything of her in this race, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
I wonder if it was something at the start, maybe.
Here comes the jibe. Newland leading Nolo, and it looks like Newland is slightly stretching the gap. Like you said earlier in the day, Sophia, you made the call that you thought that Parma Newland was looking quickest downwind, and this is looking like the case, even against the reigning world champion, Lauriane Nolo.
Yeah, she is. Her downwind is, I would say, the best in the fleet, and it's almost always been the case. She's really, really, really strong on the downwind, and so yeah, it's quite hard to to catch up with her once she passes the upwind mark. It's very hard, but it looks like Daniela is going really fast on the downwind and almost maybe overtaking Lauriane.
And that could well be Daniela Moroz's Kite we can just see out of picture.
And I would like to say that Poema is on a 15. Like, how impressive to be doing such a good and fast upwind with a 15-meter kite, whilst Daniela and I'm not sure about Lauriane, but Daniela has a 21, so maybe that is why she managed to catch up a little bit on the downwind. But what an impressive performance.
So that's why USA's Daniela Moroz has managed to close the gap on the French, because she's running with the biggest kite in her quiver. That's the 21. But now that they're on the upwind, I'm thinking that smaller 15 square meters is going to be less draggy and is going to work nicely for Newland on the upwind now. Would you agree with that, Sophia?
Yeah, I think it it definitely could give her an advantage on the upwind, and then it's just a matter of holding on to the position on the downwind, which she's managing to do really, really well. So.
And there must be a constant stress in kiting as to whether you're on the right choice of kite. It's something that, for me as a sailor coming from 470s and 49ers, where you've only got one choice of sail plan, you don't have that headache. You know, you've got this constant stress of, do I need to go back to the beach and change kite, or should I stick with the one that I've got? I mean, it must be quite hard to manage psychologically.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's one more variable. It's one more choice to make, one more thing, and one more decision. But I mean, yeah, it's part of the game. It's just yeah, it's a matter of trying to to see what's. I mean, I guess people have different riding styles as well. There's people that like to be a bit overpowered, people that like to be a bit underpowered, so people that prefer smaller kites, and people that prefer big kites and a lot of power. So it is very interesting though, like on a day like today, to see what is it. Is it better to be on a 15 or 21? It's yeah, it's a bit like going to the left side of the course or the right side of the course. Things could change really quickly. Wind could drop, wind could pick up. So yeah.
So Newland leading at the moment and stretching away a little bit, but Lauriane Nolo struggling to hold on to the front too. Daniela Moroz has got herself in a French sandwich right now, and looking very fast. The USA rider looking very competitive. Will it be enough to overtake Parma Newland? I'm not sure about that, but Moroz is going to be very happy that she's managed to overtake Lauriane Nolo. And now the question is, can the USA rider stay ahead? Bearing in mind, Parma Newland's ahead of the world champions of all the last number of years, because Newland has never won the world championship. She's being chased by Lauriane Nolo, winner of last year's world championship, and also by Daniela Moroz, winner of the previous 6. I mean, just an unbelievable record by Moroz, who up until 2 years ago you would have said was the absolute gold medal favourite, but the French in particular and others in the rest of the world have caught up on that incredible world-beating performance of Moroz. But it's nice to see the USA rider right back up the front here again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's been an icon in the sport, hasn't
And she's
she?
only 22 or 23 years old.
Yeah,
How can you be an icon at 23? It's mad, isn't it?
she's done an incredible job, and it is definitely nice to see her right back at the top. And yeah, the French riders have given her a bit of work to do.
They sure have. And they're doing that right now. It's Newland still leading, Moroz in second, Lauren Nalot in third.
It's yeah, the speed is still very, very close, even if even with the Kite difference between Newland and Moroz. But let's see if Moroz manages to close the gap a little bit and maybe even catch up with her on this last downwind of the fourth race, the women's fleet.
I think this is going to be a pleasing day for Daniela Moroz, particularly if she can stay ahead of Lauriane Nalot in this race. To have won the first race of the afternoon and to find herself competitive against the French in these kind of conditions, I think this is a good morale booster for Moroz. But really the standout performer of the day, if she can keep the wheels on the wagon for this last bit of the race, Poema Newland, to win 3 out of 4 races today in Goldfleet, well, that would be a stunning performance.
Yeah, and I mean, let's keep in mind this is the World Championship before the Olympic Games. Like, these gals have been working so hard with their coaches, with their teams, everything. So everybody is at the top of the game. So to throw 3 race wins is actually very, very, very impressive. So I mean, let's see if she manages. Yeah, we see Elena doing a very good job on this Downwind as well.
Elena Lengvieler from Switzerland working herself up into the front few, maybe. I'm not sure if that, I don't know if I believe that or not yet. I still feel like, well, it's certainly Poema Newland still leading. And let's see who comes round next. Is that Elena Lengvieler up into second? It might well be. It is.
Like, yeah,
I don't know where she came from.
She killed it, absolutely killed it. She has done an incredible job.
So suddenly we're talking about the Swiss rider again. So no one's going to take the race win away from Poema Newland. 3 wins from 4 races for Poema Newland. Absolute standout winner of the day, but stealing it right at the last gasp. Elena Lengvieler coming from nowhere to finish second across the line ahead of Daniela Moroz, and our reigning world champion Lauriane Nalot displaced down to 4th place, just ahead of Ellie Aldridge of Great Britain and Leonie Meyer of Germany. And Poema Newland, well, I think we're going to be talking to her on the beach in a short while. She's given us every reason to do so with 3 wins from 4. We will take a quick break. We'll be back to you in a moment.
Meet the R1V4, our highest performance Olympic and IKA registered racing machine.
2 minutes 30 until the 4th race for the men. This is the last race of Goldfleet. We've just seen the Goldfleet for the women completed, but here are the standings for the men going into this final race. I'm going to start from the bottom because it's all about being in the top 10, and Tony Vodicek, for finishing second in the last race, has given himself a bit more breathing space. He was already in 10th, but he now has a bit more breathing space, and hopefully for him will be able to stay there. And then Denis Taradin in 9th, the Cypriot rider, Martin Dolans from Croatia in 8th, Bruno Lobo from Brazil in 7th, Lorenzo Boschetti from Italy in 6th, Yannis Maus from Germany in 5th. 4th place for Valentin Bontis of Austria, Riccardo Pianozzi currently in bronze position for Italy, Axel Mazzella in second, the French rider, and Max Mader, winner of the last race and stretching his lead. And I suspect, without looking at all the scores, I suspect Max Mader doesn't even need to sail this race. I would imagine he's probably wrapped up the yellow bib for tomorrow's medal series already. So he could probably take the rest of the afternoon off. But Max loves kiteboarding, he loves racing, and actually it's good practice for the Olympics, because this is the last time competitively that they get to race each other before the Olympic Games. So there's a small matter of getting as many starts and as many high traffic mark roundings in as you possibly can. But Max Mader looking absolutely nailed on to be wearing the yellow bib going into tomorrow. And then for Tony Vodicek at the other end of the top 10, he's got to keep on racing well in this race just to make sure that he gets that 10th spot and stays in the fight for tomorrow's medal series. Sophia, we got 45 seconds to go. Do you think anyone's going to go for the port tack start?
It doesn't look like getting a start. I mean, we've seen a pretty solid left side of the course, so I'm assuming most riders are going to be, trying to go to the left side. And we have seen a few kite changes on the men's fleet as well, so let's see how it impacts the racing.
What have they gone for?
They've gone for a bigger kite, like the girls, so they've gone for 23s, and yeah, I think it might have been a good choice. It looks like it paid off for Daniela Moroz and Elena, doesn't it?
That's true. That worked out very well for them. Off they go. Just one port tack starter. I think that's our Czech rider Wojciech Koska, who seems to love the port tack start. Clear start, so everyone is in the hunt right now. And someone looking very nicely poked out in the middle.
Yeah,
with a really good start.
Looks like it could be Martin Doling. Cameron starting at the pin with a lot of speed. We can see him at the bottom of the screen. He had really good starts today. He's been doing a solid performance.
Yes, Cameron Maramanides from Greece is very good at those the pin end starts, isn't he? He really seems to be nailing the starts.
Yeah, we can see, I think Bruno Lobo had a very good start as well. Let's see. He's been having a very good race so far, so let's see what he manages to do on this last race of Gold Fleet.
So on the far left of your picture, that's Maramanides from Greece, just going out of shot, looking really good, but without the ability to tack where he wants to. And is that Axel Mazzella?
Yeah, it looks like Axel is a bit stuck in the middle of the pack, doesn't it?
So the red bib, all bit of a splash down there. It was around here the last time round that Mazzella had a crash. Yeah. But Mazzella not having a great start right now, so he's struggling.
Yeah, he is struggling a little bit. Hopefully he can catch up during the rest of the race. We see the first person to tack and go to the right side, and the rest trying to tack. Oh, it's such a struggle to be able to tack and then find a gap in the middle of the fleet and try to stay clear of and give right away to the people on starboard. Sometimes
you tack and you hope that the others are going to tack at the same time as you, don't you? And
yeah, sometimes.
But you don't know. You can't guarantee that.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's very tricky, and sometimes you are just not able to tack, and you have to wait for other people to tack, and that changes your plan, your racing plan, and you have to adjust to what happens. So I think at the left of the screen, I think we're seeing Dennis with a lot of speed.
Dennis Taradin from Cyprus doing well. Martin Dolence also doing well, the Croatian rider. They're both capable of getting on the podium, aren't they? We haven't seen so much of them at the front today, but the Cypriot and Croatian riders very much among the best when they're sailing at their best.
Yeah, they're always amongst top riders, and I think the first yet to take the lead out might be Riccardo. Let's see.
So Pianozzi from Italy Italy's Olympic representative, goes round in first place, followed by Cyprus's Denis Taradin and Croatia's Martin Dolenc. And I'm not sure. I'm wondering, is Max Mader doing this race?
I wonder if something happened at the start.
I'm wondering if Mader has decided to sit out this race because he doesn't need to. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. We'll try and update you with that, but I'm not sure if Max Mader's competing in this race because he's already done enough. Oh, we've heard that he might have been in an incident. Maybe there he was racing, but got caught up in something. I'm not sure. Meanwhile, at the front, Riccardo Pianozzi from Italy holding the lead ahead of Denis Taradin of Cyprus and Martin Dolenc of Croatia. Sophia, what kite choices have they gone for this race?
Yeah, they've both changed to the big kite. So yeah, they now are racing on 23s, it looks like.
I also see that there might have been problems for Valentin Bontas and Sam Aben as well. I'm wondering if they've had a bit of a tangle up. So Valentin Bontas is certainly one of our front runners normally, but the Austrian rider might be having problems in this race.
Yeah, I wonder if there is a protest there. We'll see. For now, Riccardo's still on the lead, but Denis very, very close right behind. About to approach the downwind mark for the second upwind.
Pianozzi going into the jibe, followed by Taradin and Dolenc, and Marcus Edegran of the USA also in the front four. Good rounding by Riccardo Pianozzi. You can see the waves are starting to have an effect on the way they handle the board. Pianozzi now locked in and on the upwind session. This is the last upwind of the day. We've already completed the women's racing, and now this is the final men's race of the afternoon. It's day 5 of the Formula Kite World Championships, the last big event of the season before we see some of these riders compete at the Olympic Games about 2 months from now. And Riccardo Pianozzi will be representing Italy. Denis Taradin in second, he will be representing Cyprus, and Marcus Edegran from the USA up into third place representing USA, and Martin Dolenc representing Croatia. So we've got 4 Olympic contenders holding the top 4 spots, but we've got some of the less usual names. And in 5th place, Gian Andrea Stragiotti, young Swiss rider, got a 3rd place yesterday.
How impressive. He's very young rider, and it's very good to see him get closer to the top riders and get some incredible results in the gold fleet. What a great performance from Switzerland.
Absolutely.
Young team. So looks like Riccardo and Denis just stacked simultaneously and are heading to the ley line. Riccardo is just windward of Denis, and
Denis certainly pushing Pianozzi hard. Not much between them, but Pianozzi probably feels that he's got Taradin fairly well under control, Pianozzi being in the more windward position.
definitely. Let's see when it comes to the attack. But they look so close. And we've got Martin Dolenc and Marcus just behind, and Bruno coming from the right side of the course. I think he tacked earlier, so let's see if it paid off for him.
Bruno Lobo from Brazil tends to prefer the stronger winds on the smaller kites, but the breeze has dropped a little bit this afternoon, so we're back, or a lot of the riders are back on their biggest kites. I don't know if all of them are, but these 2 front runners are running on the biggest kites available to them, the 23 square meter. Both riders successfully complete their last tack of the afternoon. Pianozzi still with a marginal lead over Denis Taradin, but Taradin, the Cypriot rider, close enough to keep Pianozzi honest. Pianozzi's going to have to push hard down the final leg towards the finish. Taradin round in second, bit of a gap back to the next one. It's going to be Marcus Edegran from USA just ahead of Martin Dolenc from Croatia. And then the Swiss surprise, Gian Andrea Stragiotti, the young Swiss rider in 5th ahead of Axel Mazzella. So Mazzella in the mix. So he's getting an okay score in this one right now, but a little bit disappointing by the French rider standards.
Yeah, he managed to save the start he had a little bit, so he's in 5th place now, but definitely not exactly the best race for Axel today. So here we can see Ricardo and Dennis. Looks like Ricardo's increased the gap a little bit with Dennis, and he might just be able to take the win home.
So that would be a wonderful way for Pianozzi to finish the afternoon. He started the day in the blue jersey, and I don't know without seeing the scores, but I suspect that this will probably be enough to keep Pianozzi in the blue bib, which will mean that he will get a bye straight through to the final, whereas Dennis Taradin and the rest of the top 10 will have to go through and contest the semi-finals tomorrow when we have the medal series. So this is important for Pianozzi to hold on to the blue bib, because that guarantees him a spot in the four-rider final.
There they go, jibing. Last jibe of the day for the last race of the men. He looks back and making sure the gap's big enough.
Which it is.
It is,
So
it is.
it's pretty comfortable for Pianozzi. He doesn't need to push too hard.
Very, very good performance from Ricardo.
And he's happy about that. The Italian is very happy to win the last race of the afternoon. Just steals a quick glance backwards. And I'm just trying to work out the body language there. He's surely got to be happy with that. We know it was a clear start, so I just thought we'd see a little bit more emotion there, especially from an Italian, Sophia.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's very composed, and yeah, he celebrates a lot when he wins, I guess. But I
He
mean,
goes sky high, doesn't he?
He does. I think he's pretty happy with his performance. I'm sure he is.
So good finish for Pianozzi, good finish for Dennis Taradin, getting second across the line ahead of Croatia's Martin Dolenc in 3rd, and Axel Mazzella managing to move up to 4th by the finish of the race. So good recovery by France's Axel Mazzella. We'll go to a quick break and we'll be back to you shortly for a bit of an analysis. Medal series to go tomorrow. It's all going to be about the top 10 men and the top 10 women. The absolute standout performer in the women was Poema Newland. What an amazing day she had, 3 out of 4 races. And Sophia, what do you put that down to?
Absolutely stunning. She had such an amazing and solid downwind in all the races. Nobody was able to catch up with her, and she had really solid starts. And what a beautiful performance! I think she must be very, very proud of herself.
I'm hoping that we might be able to get an interview with her. I see she's being interviewed at the moment. I'm just wondering if we can drag her over in a moment, but she's still talking to another camera right now. And what about Max Mader? I mean, we don't know what happened to him in the last race, but Max goes into tomorrow wearing the yellow bib. He only needs to win one more race, and it's hard to see it going any other way other than to Max Mader, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he's last year's world champion, isn't he? He's showed just how amazing he is, and he's been solid throughout the whole week. So, yeah, going into the final tomorrow, he's got one last race separating him from the world title. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens.
Of course, I'm sure Riccardo Pianozzi in second place with the blue bib, and others like Valentin Bontas and Axel Marzella will still believe that this is a world championship they can win. And the great thing about the medal series is that anything can happen. And so we'll have to see, won't we? Maybe we'll get a new world champion this year.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. This format for sure keeps us on our toes, and it's going to be really exciting to see what happens. Anything can change at any moment, but I think they're all such amazing riders, and they all have a chance at winning this title. Same thing for the women fleet, I think.
I'm going to see if we can just get Poema. We're going to see if we can get Poema in just for a quick chat. Everyone wants to speak to Poema. Poema, congratulations. 3 out of 4 race wins today. You must be absolutely delighted.
I'm happy about that. I'm a bit tired, obviously, because everyone was pushing so hard, and I also still took bad starts. But overall, I'm really happy about what I did, and I felt really good on my foil and my kite, which is not always the thing. So,
do you think you've got the legs to win these world championships? Because based on what we've seen today, you were the best out there.
well, who knows? I don't know. I'm just trying to take every races by every race and see how it goes. I have a lot of bad points. So let's see how I do in semis and stuff. I will just try to enjoy, because that's what I'm doing since the beginning, and it's working well. So yeah, let's see tomorrow.
We really enjoyed your performance today. Very fast on the downwind. So congratulations on today, and we wish you all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Poema. So from Sophia and me, Andy, we'll say that's it for the day, but we very much hope you'll be back for joining us tomorrow to see what happens in the medal series, who are going to be our Formula Kite World Champions of 2024. It's the last big one before the Olympic Games, so join me and Sophia tomorrow. We'll bring you all the action then.